right, so we're pulling up to the house. Excuse me. We're pulling up to the house. Just made a new purchase. Probably not the wisest time, but you know, when you get a deal, you get a deal. You can't pass it up, right? So let's check out this new Big Bear. Look at this pile. Oh goodness. So this thing was posted up, and I'll put the ad right here. This guy had it up for $2,750. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. $2,750 for this thing, and I thought, nah, it's a shit ton of money. No thanks, I'm good. And then recently I saw he lowered the price, and then he lowered the price again, and then he changed the ad to moving, need it gone, and he had it up for $1,000. So needless to say, we went there and talked with the guy for a while. Thing fires right up, so let's get it off the trailer and we'll take a look at what this thing needs. So we're underneath the machine. Here is the VIN. 10th digit is a 4. If I'm not mistaken, that leads me to believe that this is a 2004 Yamaha Big Bear 400 two-wheel drive. YFM 400. This thing is the redneck special. Look at this hitch support. That's awesome. I'm gonna go ahead. This thing actually moves under its own power, believe it or not. Not sure how many road miles it has on it. Considerably a lot. And I'll show you the details. Let's fire this thing up. Reverse work. All right, so first thing I noticed, this is actually the 3rd Big Bear I've owned. This is the 2nd two-wheel drive one I've had. The other one I had was a 4-wheel drive, both of which I owned in Alaska. I had a tan one, I had a blue one, and I think this one was originally, it's not tan, it's beige. Someone must have repainted this thing, so I think they sanded it down and repainted it, pretty sure, because I think these are only offered in tan/beige, red, and green. So what I want to show you guys, I'm going to grab a flashlight, show you how bad these tie rods are. All right, so right off the bat, tires are deflated and toast. Oops, pretty toast. No tread at all, so definitely need to be replaced. If you grab onto the rear brake, no rear brakes at all. If you grab onto the front brakes, the front right brake works. There's probably no pad left on the front left. Front tires look to be in decent shape, but let me put this headlamp on, and I will show you all what was hilarious to me. So see that tie rod in there? Let's zoom in a little bit. Hi Oakley, how are you, bud? All right, that's me moving the tire in and out. There's so much slop in that. All right, let's do the same on this one. Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. That's dangerous, huh? All right, so just pop the seat off. It's got an air filter on it. That's great. Recoil. Somebody pulled the rope out of it. What I'm going to do is actually pull these bolts out tonight and take this recoil to my power sports shop nearby and say, fix this, because I've learned that rewinding these things or putting new rope in them is just an absolute nightmare and not worth my time or the struggle. I usually end up screwing it up and then paying somebody else to do it anyways, because it's just an absolute pain in the ass. Look at that. So we got rear brakes. Looks like they're he said they were out of adjustment, which to me means the pads, or in this case I should say the shoes, are just completely gone. So we'll take a look at that as well. Let's make sure this thing's got oil. Great. clean this off in a second off camera, make sure it's at the correct height. But we'll drain this out tomorrow. I think there's an oil filter back here. Yeah, so we'll get a new filter for it tomorrow. I think there's 3 Allen head bolts, so we'll spray this with Blaster tonight and treat this thing right. Order a new air filter online, and we'll see about getting some front and rear brakes for this thing. But I think we're gonna check the oil. It's got a good battery. I think we're gonna go for a little spin, risk our life with just one front brake. Let's do it. All right, so we just cut through the woods. These things are so cool. They're just point and go. This thing runs great. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Yeah, not doing so hot. Well, she left us stranded. I think the car needs to be cleaned. Still pretty goddamn cool looking, at least from the front. Would you have paid, well, leave your comments down below. What do you think? What do you think we paid for this thing? So my list so far is rear tires, carb clean, clearly, air filter, oil change, rear brakes, front brakes, tie rods. What else? Seems like the headlights work. Let's see. Oh, we got one headlight. Looks like the gauge, yeah, looks like the high beam works. See if she wants to fire up. Oh, that's great. So, I figured it out! The choke was on! So, just rode around. Oh, I gotta sneeze, hold on. Alright, just rode it around, and I think I found the problem. So it's pissing gas. Let's see, let's turn the gas on here. Fuel's on, and the float is stuck like upward, so it's just it's just dumping fuel. So we're gonna shut this off. I tried to start it, killed the battery, so luckily we are walking distance from home. So I'm gonna push this thing not on someone's grass, but just a little bit to the side, and I'm gonna tow this piece of shit back. Pretty funny, not gonna lie. Not surprised. So we'll take it home, we'll clean the carb, keep the float from sticking upward and just calling for more and more fuel. Let's go get the truck. Well, we're learning a ton about tensile strength right now because I'm towing this piece of shit home right now because Sarah's in class. Oh, there she goes, wrong side. Come on, baby, make the corner. Come on. We gotta go home. There we go. So every single Big Bear I've owned, all of the three have had stripped drain plug bolts. So I got the extractor hammered on there. We're about to see if this thing wants to come off. It's classic.
It's interesting.
What do you think? Just tell a story. The extractor completely stuck on. Here, watch this. If you haven't seen an extractor before, this is what it does. And when you've got a drain bolt that no longer resembles a drain bolt, or no longer has a hexagonal shape, you can hammer this sucker on, excuse the dog hair, and it'll bite. So it worked. I am impressed and excited and relieved. All right, so went ahead, removed the rear tires. Had to use the extractor again, different one, and it was successful. Holy smokes, super cool. This is proof that extractors are worth their weight in gold. And sledgehammers. Here's a good visual. You can actually see all that little gelatin gunk in there clogging up all these ports. This poor carburetor. So we'll go ahead and blast this thing out, and it should be good as new. And here she is. Still got to clean the bowl and the float and the jets, but the carb itself, at least the inside, is in pretty good shape now. All right, just went ahead and zipped these 3 Allen head bolts out, and I pulled the oil filter out. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove the spark plug now and get a new one tomorrow. So I just woke up, holiday weekend, was like, I'm gonna go check out, see if I can remove that taillight. Came face to face with this freaking wasp sitting right there. This big old nest was not cool. So, believe it or not, brake cleaner does the trick. Oh God, oh God, oh God. Ah, get off! Hope you don't have any freaking kids. Okay, I think we're safe. All right, just placed a big order. Got some replacement parts coming in. I will list it off for you here. In the meantime, we're going to scoop up, I guess I should say drop off these tires and see if they'll mount them up for us, because anything's better than this and this. These things aren't perfect, but they're free and in fairly decent shape, and I cleaned them up and didn't see any massive holes or tears or dry rot at all. So I think we're gonna send it. And they're both 12-inch rim. These are a little smaller diameter, but they're 1 inch wider, which is pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drain the rear diff fluid while we're here. There's 2 bolts, one on the side, one on the bottom, and they're both 12 millimeters. So what I'm gonna do is loosen my fill plug first, and then I will drain this out. But I can't wait to see what's hiding inside of here. Based on the looks of this thing, it's probably seen water at least once. not a shit ton of play up and down, which is pretty cool. So that bearing seems to be in pretty decent shape. So it was a 21 millimeter for the fill plug, and the drain plug is a 6 millimeter. So we'll go ahead and pop that off right now. I hit this with some PV Blaster too. Okay. In an ideal situation, we would warm this thing up, get the fluid moving so it'll drain out better, but I just want to do a preliminary drain if we want to do another one down. Oh wait, so probably won't get anything until we pull the top off. There we go. Nice. Well, it doesn't look as bad as some I've seen, but just a tiny bit of metal on there, but nothing too bad. It's actually pretty good. I guess it's a 2-wheel drive quad, so no one's really trying to bog this thing in the right mind. Success. Sweet. All right, this thing's starting to finally look like something. I just put the new used meats on. Get this thing set on the ground. I topped off the differential. This doesn't have a fill bolt. Some of these have a drain bolt, a like height check bolt, and a fill bolt. The fill bolt is the height check bolt, which is pretty neat on this particular machine. So like I said, I ordered a shit ton of parts. What are you doing down there, hooligan? I'm in the process of putting the oil filter back on. Got some new lug nuts on there. The other ones are pretty ugly, but let's set this thing down and take a look at it. That's cool. A lot better than 2 flat tires. They seem to be holding air. Rims are pretty nice once they are cleaned up. Cool, let's keep on keeping on. I just installed the brand new spark plug. This is a DR8EA, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. DR8EA. So that's good. And what else do we need to do? Put this what's this thing called? Skid plate back on the differential. Business in here. A random nail hanging out of it. No tools. Let's tighten that up. Ah. What's up, buddy? Hanging out. All right, moment of truth. Choke. Oh, one-eyed princess, sitting pretty. Got a washed up. Almost looks like a real ATV now. Cool. So, play the waiting game. Wait for some parts to come in. I think the air filter should be here tomorrow. Pretty exciting. Shouldn't need choke. I mean, what more can you ask for, really? So we just got new headlights. Apparently the oil came. What else did we get? Front brakes, tie rods and tie rod ends. Like I said, apparently the oil came. What else? There's some more stuff. We'll have to go take a look. There's that CV axle, the U-joint. Truck looking fresh. New winch installed on the trailer for the big move. Oh, tires are too big. Garage is all bare again, no pun intended, because we're out of here soon. All right, what else did we get? So, headlights, bulbs. That should be not too bad. New tail light. We'll do that right now to replace this one. I think it looks a little bit better. Hopefully it fits. Here's the headlight. One of them out. It's easier to just remove them on this model. Front brake pads. What else? It's my wet feet, by the way. I ordered this Yamaha emblem for the front. It's like way smaller than I thought. Maybe it'll be all right. We'll have to put it on there and see what happens. What else? I think this is just tie rod ends. Yeah. So we'll have to assemble these. Just pull the front ones off. Hopefully they're not stripped. All right, let's do it. That is what we're looking for. I wonder if it gets brighter. Hit the tail light. Hit the brake light. Let's see. Nope. That's interesting. All right, that was way more difficult than it had to be. There's these little O-rings that sit on top. The washers sit on top of these. There's a nut and a lock washer. And then below that, I'm just gonna keep these in there forever. You've got, below that, you've got, I'll show you on this, these stems. And on top of that, you've got a another rubber piece that sits behind a washer like this. And it's inset into this hole here. And there's these little pieces of metal that are, you know, give the rubber a firm backing. Well, these studs are longer on the factory one than they are on the freaking aftermarket headlight assembly I just bought. So I had to zing this in half and cut the rubber piece, lower it in order to get this and remove the washer from the bottom. Now it's not all wobbly, it's perfect. So let's see if it still works. Cool, I will take that. All right, so we got this thing jacked up, got the front and right and left wheels off. And if you remember correctly, the tie rod ends on this thing are completely shot. Let's see if I can get you a better angle. Wee-wee. That thing is just dancing around in there. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna pull that sucker off and hopefully measure these out to similar dimensions, and then we'll take these front calipers off and put some new brakes on. Let's do it. All right, I'm on the driver's side, if you will, and I just cracked this bottom nut loose. I think it actually is loose and not just spinning, so that's cool. Looks like someone was adjusting these things too. What is happening? Man. Okay, we will carry on. I'm gonna leave this one in, try and get a wrench in here, maybe a socket from the top, but let's do it. All right, so here's a tactic that worked for me. I cut the rubber boots off. I started cutting this one, and then I think I shook it loose, believe it or not. So I was able to back the nut off. I'm just having it in there. I left the bolt, or the bottom of the ball joint, through, or I should say tie rod end, through the knuckle here, just to keep the tie rod in place. But on the far side, I pulled the cotter pin off, and then actually got in here and I just took some snips and cut the rubber boot off, and then I put a vice grip on and then just backed it up on something, and now I'm cranking this loose. So we'll get this out in a second. All right, got ourselves some new tie rods installed. Got to get some cotter pins in here, and I'm about to do a redneck alignment before I tighten everything up. As you can see, it's all loose. Before I do that, I'm gonna pop this brake caliper off, and we got some Caltrick brake pads. Pretty cheap, but they do the job, and they're better than these. Look at these. Let me put the flashlight on. How about them for brake pads? Nothing left. Oh my goodness. All right, let's crack this loose. And one thing I learned that was super important about the brake pad installation is greasing the slides. Forgive me if it's the wrong terminology, but when I had my 400EX, I put new pads in, and I would wheelie, and the front right would lock up because the pad wasn't sliding and retracting back into its original place. You know what? I don't think I needed to do that. I think these will pull the caliper off, but these pull the pads out. So I think I had to do that next, but I think I accidentally did this in the right order. These are probably 12 millimeter. Let's see what we got here. Is that right? Yeah. All right, let's crack this loose. There we go. That's right. We need a small extension. All right, let's crack this puppy loose. Good. Oh, found the bumper. It's like these have never been off. I'll grab something to lay this onto. Set you guys over here. All right. That's one bolt. Bolts. Cool. All right, here we are. Look at those pads. Man, there's nothing left. Crazy. All right, so I'm gonna probably need two hands to do this. We're gonna, oh my God, slide these pads back, and I have these big clamps, or big vice grips I use, and I just kind of clamp the piston backwards, and it'll, Jesus, it'll have enough memory to stay backwards and give me enough space to slide the new pads in. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, now before I put this thing back together, I just cleaned up. This is kind of how nasty the old one was. Put that in the light. Whole bunch of gunk on there. This is, you know, sanded off with some little Brillo pad and a little bit of sandpaper. Scotch-Brite is the word I'm looking for. I'm also going to use some Sil-Glide, which is just silicone, and it'll coat this thing, and it'll let it slide just like grease. And it seems to work really well. I use it on my truck on the brakes too for this reason, and I've heard it does good work. So we'll clean this thing up and see if we can get those pads back in. Like I said, we're gonna transfer this little pad retainer. Try not to break it, put it on the new pad, and we'll reinstall this stuff, and hopefully we'll have ourselves some front brakes. We'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, after much persuasion, got the new pads in there. So we'll go ahead and slide this inner one back, and we'll pop it on and be back in business. And on today's episode of Don't Piss Off a Redneck, I was doing well, you know, pulled the brakes off, almost stripped the two little Allen bolts that hold the pads into the caliper. So, you know, used a little brake, little PV blaster, and got it to cooperate, which is great. And then I quickly realized I could not get the pads in, obviously, because I had to move the piston back into the caliper. So I used the same method I used on the other side, but this one's clearly more frozen. So I continued to pinch my fingers in these crappy ass piece of crap tool. They're in the woods now. I threw them in the woods, so you can't show them to you, but they're the oldest channel locks that money can buy. And by money can buy, I mean I found them for free at a tag sale. I think I paid $2, I should say. So I pulled my bench vise over here, put it on its side, and then put a 9/16 inch socket in there, and compressed the piston back into the caliper. Now I've got a super nice crack in my nail that will probably turn into a nice purple nurple. So super excited about that, but good times. It worked. Well, this is by far the worst set of pads I've ever seen. I think they're original because it says Nissan. Wow. Well, glad those are replaced. As you saw, it stops great. It runs like a top. Next will be rear drum shoes, and unfortunately I think in front of the diff there's a couple U-joints between the drive shaft and the diff, and the drive shaft and the back of the engine. So they're making some clunk noises at low speeds, so we'll get to that next, but stay tuned. This thing's a ton of fun, especially for a little $550 beater. I think it was it was well worth it, and it's coming along. Damn. So I went ahead and pulled these 4 12mm carrier bearing bolts out, and this slides right off, exposes our bearing, and I think this is a seal as well. Maybe not, maybe this acts as the seal. I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I think it just holds the bearing in. But either way, we're gonna go ahead and pull this out and see what we got. All right, about 2 pounds with the slide hammer and pilot bearing puller, and that old bearing came right out. Look at all this crap in there. Oh my goodness. It's all mud from this bad girl bogging deep. But all right, we'll clean all that crap out and we'll get to the other side. Good stuff. pull this seal off first. Let's see. Might be able to pull this out with the bearing. Screw it. This stays tight. Ah, crap. Might not be big enough. Pisser. Yeah. Bummer. All right. What do I have? Let's see. This might do it. This is why you always go to estate sales. I'm gonna burn in hell for saying that, but you know what? This might not work. Let's see. I wonder. I don't think I've got enough thread for that. Pisser. I wonder if I can get this with the vice grips. Put something on here. Let's try it. All right. I wonder if we go like this. Didn't expect that to work, but let's try something else. So this was successful. What I did is I put a piece of square stock in there and I couldn't get the right angle on it to pound the bearing out from the backside. So what I did is I put the square stock in, put the hammer close by. I think this was 20 bucks. I could probably go return it if I wanted to, but I won't do that, I think. And then we've got a bearing here. This came out of there, in case you're wondering. And what I did is I put this spreader on there, but I don't have a slide hammer attachment, so I just tightened it up in there. It hooked on, and then I pounded basically the ears from the backside this way, and it popped that bearing right out. So success. By the way, it smells nasty, so bad. All right, got the new bearing installed. I popped the seal out the back. All I had to do also was this whole backing plate came right off. I didn't even realize it, so I just had to pull it, and then it exposed the bearing and the seal. So I went and used my seal removal tool here, and then I had put my bearing in the freezer, so I just popped that in. I've got a bearing driver kit, I think is what this is called. So this kit comes with a handle, and you can just thread on whichever attachment you want. So I found the right size, then pounded that on, and then I used the 12mm bolts and popped those back in after I had greased the whole shebang. Put a little grease on here. Gonna continue to action this, just give it a little more lubrication, and we'll clean this all up with brake clean, keep some grime out of there. And I'm still waiting on the other side over here. I've got the bearing in the freezer again. I had to bring it with me to when I tried to find a pilot bearing removal tool, but the one that they had was the same one I have that was slightly too small. It's about the same size as the inside dimension of that replacement bearing for this size. So we'll get the let the other one cool down, and then we'll grease this up. I cleaned it up with brake clean pretty good, so try to get some of the gunk out of there, at least enough. So what I will do is I'll grease the splines on the inside here, then I'll grease around here, pack the bearing with grease because I think it's not a sealed system. I think this is also lubricated by the gear oil, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but whatever. Pretty sure it is a bearing that needs to be packed, so I'm going to pack it myself using wheel bearing grease, and then I will, like I said, put some grease in here, pound my frozen grease bearing in, and then I will pop my seal on the outside, and then I will, I've got the axle here, so I'll clean up the splines on either side, grease this middle bearing here, most importantly right here and on the splines, clean all this crap up, and I think we should be in good shape. So we'll slide that axle back in. I might actually wait on that because I think what we're gonna have to do is, like I said before, drop this differential. So we'll take these 4 bolts off, drop the shock like I said, and then we'll take these 4 off, and then we'll be able to remove the axle tube and just swing it down, attached to the brakes and out of the way. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to slide the drive shaft out once the differential comes off and out. And then I'll be able to pull the drive shaft out, replace the U-joints, and slide everything back together, but could be wrong. So wait and you will find out with me. All right, so I've got, it's a little bit later, got the bearing and seal in the passenger side, if you will, and I went ahead and installed the driver's side. So we got bearing, seal, and about way too much grease in there, but enough is enough, and not enough. That's all that matters. So we are going to clean up the splines on this axle and put some grease on there, slide this bad girl in. In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and pop those caps off, and there's some hardware back there I'll have to remove, loosen up the shock bolt, loosen up the rubber accordion style gasket, if you will, on the face of this thing. There's a U-joint in there, and we should be able to just slide the whole assembly off. I'm going to put the axle back in, put the brakes back on, and then I'll basically remove everything that's hanging out back here. There's a really good in-depth video on this. I'm going to put a link to it, and the gentleman does a fantastic job of explaining exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm just going to show you after we get to the important parts, but he'll explain to you how to basically remove your entire swing arm. But long story short is I'm going to remove this, remove these lines. I think there's another something else hanging out down here. But we will go ahead and get all this stuff out of the way and remove the swing arm, or at least try to. All right, one axle ready to be reinstalled. She might need a couple low taps. That is what I was hoping for. Cool. Extra grease. Very cool. All right, let's reinstall some brakes just for fun. Get this packaged up.